is Saturday, November 2025. I don't know what day it is. It's Saturday. Let me tell you a little story. 5 years ago, I had an ad running that I buy three-wheelers. And I had a gentleman message me late summer. And he said he had some three-wheelers. Some three-wheelers, huh? That perked my interest, to say the least. And so I said, I'd love to come out and see them, you know. And he said, well, no, you can't do that. And okay. He said, it's too hot. I said, all right. He said, when it cools off, you can come out and you can look at it. I said, all right. Well, I had to wait a month or so before it to cool off. September 25th, 2025. I got the call. He said I could come out and take a look at him, and he was 100% correct. He had 7 three-wheelers, various stages of disrepair. Nothing was running, but he had them. And we all do this. We all have plans and ideas what we're going to do in life and how we're going to do it. And the gentleman sold me 3 machines that day, and I was grateful. It was a 200S, a 1986 second gen 125M, and a beat up 200E. And so if you've kept up with the channel, there's videos on, I think, 2 of those machines. The Van Halen Big Red motor is where that came from. That motor needed a top end, and it came out of a parts machine. The second gen 125M, we do a carb swap on that. We've called it the Little Big Red because a lot of people refer to that machine as the Little Big Red. That second gen 125M has vertical engine and not the horizontal engine, and that's why it's the second gen. Its claim to fame is it's the only three-wheeler with reverse that's chain drive. Think about that now. Chain drive, reverse, three-wheeler. It's the only one. So that was a really cool machine. And then the 200S was pretty much just needed a tune-up and fired right up. It was a good-looking machine. Unfortunately, we've parted with all of those now, but it's been 5 years ago. I had no idea how fast time had flown. The man decided to keep the other ones, and he was going to fix them up and give them to his grandkids, and he had grand visions of seeing his grandkids ride the same machines that he did and his children did on his property. And I have to agree with him. You know, that would have been great to see that. But as we all know, life gets in the way and things change, and kids grow up faster than we think they do or will. And hobbies and interests change, and he never got around to getting the other machines fixed up, and they just sat, and the kids grew up, and unfortunately his health took a turn recently. And so I don't know, Lord will or just dumb luck, I had a job, I had business in his area, and I drove right past his house last week, and I said, you know, he may still have those three-wheelers. And I stopped and I put a note in his mailbox, and I just waited. And 2 days later, I got a call that he had decided that you know, he realized that he was never going to fix them up. His kids was grown, his health had taken a turn, and that there was no need of them sitting there any longer. And he told me to come out this morning, and we was going to make a deal. So today I went out and we uncovered the original fenders off the first Big Red that I bought in great shape. Yes, they are dirty, but if you know anything about these fenders, there's no cracks in this set here. They are going to be great, and they are very hard to come by that aren't all busted up. The case in point, here's another set of Big Red fenders. 200Es is what we're referencing. You see the big notch broke out of this one. Still a pretty decent set of fenders, but those are going to be great. Well worth the price of admission. One man's junk is another man's junk. We've got an interesting tank. This is the second one of these I've ever run across. This is an IMS. This was called their desert tank is what I'm told. I think it holds like 4 gallons of fuel. It fit your 200, your 185s, your 200s, cc machines. Just a pretty good tank. It will probably clean up nice. And it had these cutouts, these reliefs, if you will, for the triple trees to turn into. But this was actually an 82 Big Red, what's left of it. Unfortunately, the motors had some important parts taken off of it. You know, all the gear sets, the starter, just kind of a shame. But the transmission's there, the top end's there. There's still some value there in parts. But like I said, one man's junk is another man's junk. We do have a grab bar back here. It's a little rusty, but it looks straight, which is pretty cool because most of those are bent up. Elephant in the room here is this little jewel. Gentleman had it, offered it to me as part of the deal, and I couldn't go wrong with it. He kicked it over one time and it fired right up, purred like a kitten. 2008. I don't know that if it's been laid down or not. I mean, it just... I always look at the handlebars when I look at machines and motorcycles. If they're laid down, the levers are always bent out and the grips are always tore. I think that is going to clean up like brand new. Like brand new. 2008 CRF 50. Just a really cool machine. As of filming this, it's mid-October. It's early November. Christmas, guys. This is going to be hot ticket come Christmas. We're going to make all our money right there. Here we have, this is the second one. These were a match pair, his and hers 200Ss. This was his. He kept it the longest. We don't know anything about it other than this. Check that out, guys. It's like brand new in there. That's amazing. We've got a wonderful tank. He said it's been 2 years since he rode it. So it's not running right now. The decompression system is missing. You don't have to have that to run the machine. It just makes it a little easier to start. Front tire is holding air. The right rear tire, this one is leaking. Of course, y'all know we love these tires. They'll outlast us all. So I'm excited to see if the lights are going to work on this one. We've got a trunk. We've got, looks like an original tool kit in here. Possibly, yeah, what's left of one. Spark plugs and wire. Yeah, we got parts. All right, 200S. I think this is an 84. I'll have to read the little label here. Nope, 85. 85 200S. So it's had some touch-up work. Somebody's got some silver painting. They've been painting, but 1985 200S, I don't really see any reason why that just won't fire right up. We'll find out soon. Look at the covering, the protective plastic covering. If you see old Honda levers that are kind of got this gold look to them, if you run your finger right here, you'll see where they were actually, I believe they were dipped into some type of protective plastic. And so I've been told some of the dealers cut this off and then some of them left it on. But as you see, the lever that was used the most, it's missing. But this lever was probably never used, as you can tell. I mean, it is like perfect as it can be. I know that's kind of petty and not really my thing to be, you know, geeking out over original part. But I don't get a lot of them in that have this coating on it. So if you see that coating, that's kind of a wear indicator. Also, these grips are a wear indicator. So, yeah, it's all here. Carburetor works, front brake works. I worked it coming out of the trailer. It does slow it down a tad. This I didn't see coming. I didn't know the gentleman had this until I got there. He brought it out. I think it was a little more of a project than he really wanted. I'm guessing this is going to probably be an 85 or so TRX. Exactly like, gravity's working. Exactly like the little ATC 70s. Just a cool little machine. This is a pull start only machine, so it's just like the little three-wheelers, but it is the four-wheeler configuration. I'm going to say they've spray painted the frame at some point in time to kind of give it a makeover. We have no front brakes. This would have went down and split to two separate cables, a left and a right for drum brakes. So we have no front brakes on this one. Don't know what else. I don't know anything. I just pulled it out of the trailer and I got the camera and showing it to you. We have new rear fenders, which we know those are probably 150 bucks nowadays. Here's an original fender. It has seen better days. We got some duct tape and some plastic and fiberglass and glue and screw, but it's double embossed, and you know a lot of guys really, you know, love that double embossing. When you hear that, that's what we're talking about there. Double embossed. 1, 2. Everything looks pretty sanitary. Frame's been spray painted, everything's been spray painted, but it all looks really good. We are missing a carburetor. The gentleman did give me a Chinese carburetor to put on here, but I have a feeling probably like most of these, the Petcock was probably its downfall. We got a 5-speed. We'll keep looking around and see what clues we can pick up. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I've had one of these, but like I said, not an older one. I've had a more modern one. But that's it. The front plastics looks pretty good. I think they'll clean up all right. It's had an accident or two. You see the cracks running through it there, but it's not you know, it's better than some I see for sure. So there you go. There's today's haul. It's not 250Rs and 350Xs, but it's inventory, it's content for the channel, it's projects for me to work on, and as much as I can get this done before Christmas, it's Christmas earnings, I guess you could call it. So yeah, inventory, I mean, some of it's just junk, guys. But that is a pretty cool tank, and like I said, I've only seen one other of these, and it was on an ATC 200. And actually at the time I didn't even know what it was. It come on the machine and it worked, so I used it. But yeah, that frame's a little rough. It's been sitting in the dirt for a long time, but it's there, and the guy wanted to get rid of it, and so I didn't want him to have to struggle with it. It was an older gentleman, so I just took it off his hands, and we'll probably pull the motor out of it and the grab bar, and we'll probably toss the rest. I don't know if there's anything else really worth keeping. I bet we could use that right foot peg right there, because that right foot peg looks a little bent. But anyways, that's what I did this morning. That's why we do it. Got up early, had a good cup of coffee, went for a short ride, about 45 minutes to an hour. Met a gentleman 5 years ago that remembered me and was ready to finally part with this, and so I went back and got it. Got a good deal on all of it. It's going to help me out, help us move forward here, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's always fun to get out and just hang out with people. I got the machines loaded up, paid the man. I think we sat there another hour, just visited. It was a beautiful morning as the sun was coming up, and just it was a great day to be alive. And I couldn't pass up the opportunity to meet him. He's got a couple more machines there, and maybe we'll be going back, and I'll take you if we do. He's got I'll tease you. He teased me. He's got an 85 Big Red that's beautiful. Drives it every day. I mean, it's daily. That's what he runs around his property on. And he's got a busted up 85 SX. Needs some work. It's a parts machine. And maybe, if we're lucky, an ATC 70. I don't know about that one. That may be handed down to his children, grandkids at this point. But I completely understand that. I was happy to get what I got. So we'll take each one of these in upcoming videos. This will be a little short one. I won't belabor. Just to kind of let you know, we're still out here. We're still dragging these things out of a barn. They look like this when I saw them 5 years ago, but he did wash everything off for me before I got there. I'll go ahead and tell you that's a seller's trick. If you think you got the time, wash whatever you're trying to sell, and it's a lot harder to negotiate if you're standing there over a clean piece of equipment versus a dirty piece of equipment. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. 1985 was a big year. 85, you could get a lot of really, really cool machines. You could get the 85 was the first year of the 250 ES. The first year, the 350X. Honda was kicking butt when it comes to three-wheelers. Probably, I think I refer to 85 as the prime year for three-wheelers, because the whole gamut was covered. You had utility vehicles, you had sports machines. Let's not forget the first year, the liquid-cooled 250R. Some of y'all were already typing. Just stop. I'll remember it. You had kids machines, which was the last year of the ATC 70 before they went to the TRX 70 in 86. You had mid-size machines, which is what this is. The 200S, though in its prime, pre-85, was considered just a regular three-wheeler. But in 85, everything started to get a little bit bigger. Wheelbases got longer. They got stretched out. They realized that a little bit bigger footprint would help with stability and speed and all those good things. So the 200S was on its way out the door. I think 86 is the last year of the 200S, and I think those are very hard to find. This being in 85, probably one of the more popular years, 84, 85, respectively. Let's check this one out. This is not a museum piece. This did not come out of a collection somewhere. It has not been sitting on a shelf. I gotta say, this is in great shape considering it was used around the property up until just a couple of years ago on a regular basis. So check this out. This is the proven 200cc drivetrain. It's very common in a lot of three-wheelers. It's, you know, so many of these parts change over to the 185S and the 200 and the 200E and the 200ES, and there's a lot of similarities between them. This is just such a proven system. This one, of course, as you see, is not electric start. This is your base model, if you will. This machine did not have a lot of comfort features that we're used to today. Electric start, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have reverse. This doesn't even have the high-low transmission or sub-transmission. This is a bare bones utility vehicle. We are looking at what I'm going to call the original front tire. This is a Pro-Am H-Track. I think that's what this machine came with originally. 22 by 11 by 8. These are the Walmart specials back there, and they will outlast us all. We're going to have to get rid of those. I don't even want to ride on them. This is a train drive version of the three-wheeler. It is not shaft driven. It runs the same CDI system as most of the machines. Very basic. You know, they got away from the points and they went to the CDI box to control it. This machine, just starting here at the front, it is suspended. That's one of the key features of the 200S, was it does have a working telescopic front suspension. Original fender, again, it's used, but it's not busted up. It's not broken. It's all here. It's very cool to see all of that. Front brake does work. I used it coming off the trail, or off the trailer, excuse me. The front brake does work a little slow to respond, but it's functioning. Not the correct headlight. Should have had a square red headlight, but we've got a black round one. Dash just had some monkey business to it. All of our controls and switches are respectable and good condition. Our levers, our grips are definitely worn, but that's to be expected from a machine that's been used. Front brake here, we still got our protected cover on here. I believe these were dipped. Somebody can correct me if you want. I think these levers were dipped in the factory prior to installation. And this is a protective coating. As you can see, the coating is not on this one, and so it's just completely wore off. It's very common that it wears off. What's not common is to see one that doesn't have a nick in it or anything. That's pretty wild to see that. We've got a good throttle. If you look at this throttle, this reminds me a lot of the 200X throttle. It's not the round one that we're used to. This is more the sport machine, but this throttle works. Gentlemen, the sellers told me this ran 2 years ago. I'm going to take him at his word, and we're going to see what's going to happen with it. This tank, will always check your tanks. Metal gas tanks are always problematic, but this one is not. This one looks amazing. Probably one of the best tanks, and there's gas in it because it come out on my fingers. Must have got sloshed around coming home. So our tank's in good shape. This is an original Honda seat. You know, we talk about original seats here on a lot of the YouTube channels, just as a wear indicator, how the machine was treated. If this was left outside for 40 years, that seat would be destroyed. You've seen me bring them in that look that way. These plastics would be all faded and sun checked and spider cracked and all that, and they are not. This has been in a barn. I saw this machine 5 years ago. I made a move to purchase it, and it wasn't for sale. At the time, it was running and driving. Seller called me back, told me I could come get it, and a couple other machines. He had decided to part company with them. In that last 5 years, this quit running. Things we do know is we hit something here and somebody came back with a can of spray paint and restored it. Yep, see, restored. Brake lever looks like it's got some overspray on it. Engine's been painted at some point in time, at least the lower case has. Protective cover still here. Clutch adjustment is in place. I checked the oil earlier. It is very low, but it does have oil in it. The original muffler is still on it. We are missing the decompression lever. He told me the system was out of the other side, that there's a ring and a spring inside the pull cord. You don't need it. I'm not even going to fret with trying to see if it's in there, because if it is in there, it can be a pain to wind that spring back up and put it in. We've got a, looks like a relatively new spark plug hanging down in here. Yep. All right, we're going to be going through the basics to try to make this run today. We've got some buildup on our plug. We'll pull that out and see how this motor was running, but this is our first pass. It's tight. There's not a lot of play in the rear axle. We do have a flat tire here. This tire's flat, which is good because that's an excuse to get rid of them, but there's no play in the rear axle bearings. That's good. Front tire is also flat, so we're probably looking at a set of tires. Let's get the seat off and see what we're working with. I did check the air box at the seller's house because I didn't want to bring any critters home. We are not quite out of the woods yet when it comes to that. Trunk's in place. The original toolkit part of it is in there. I backed these off at the seller's. I don't expect anything to be different here. It did have an air filter, though it is the wrong one, and I'll tell you, these do not breathe that well. If you purchase a machine that has one of these generic style pod filters, be careful. Some of them don't breathe very well. Your machine will run terrible, and you won't know exactly why. But the airbox looks really good in there. That's good and sealed off. So the carburetor is probably clean from the respect of critters getting up in there. Chain guard is in place. These are always missing. They break. I actually broke one time. I was mad at myself for that because they are hard to find. They get lost. Pull cord pulls. I checked for compression there at the seller's. It pulls over fine. Doesn't make any noises or anything. I think we've lost spark on this machine. So that's how I'm going to start first. I always start with spark, but I think that's probably where we're going to find our problem, somewhere between the kill switch probably or the CDI coil, somewhere along those ways. But we're just giving it a good once over. We do have a crack here, very common. These crack here, people's foot and trees and stuff hit this as they get on and off. And this is the fracture point right through here. Not a deal breaker in any means. That's a minor situation or issue. These get busted up and cracked, and if you look really close, these are probably the nicest set of 200S fenders I have seen that aren't busted. And normally they'll crack right through here on either side if it ever takes a tumble. But these look good. The trunk door looks good. A good polish would bring this right around. This would be nice. A bath wouldn't hurt either. The seller did wash them off. He's an old fella, and he knows that a clean machine is always worth more than a dirty machine, which costs me money for him to spray it off. But he did a nice job. It's like I said, it was covered in dirt when I saw it. It had been sitting in a barn for a long time. But let's get the tank off just so we have a better look at everything. Let's go through the steps and see if we've got spark. All right, 110mm bolt, and we've got our tank off. It just kind of opens things up a little bit. This is your first time, go on the channel or messing with a three-wheeler. Your key components is your stator is here off the flywheel. Your CDI box is hanging here. This is a round plug CDI, very common in this era of CDI machines. The square CDI is your more common CDI now. I have a video on converting this over to a square CDI. You can buy a CDI for about 10 bucks on eBay. You'll be back up and running. A Honda round plug, I hate to say, is like $200. So be sure and check that video out. It's about rewiring a CDI, converting it to a square plug. This is how you want to buy a machine. Everything is where it's supposed to be. It's inside the little clips. All the little wires are tucked up. You don't see any mouse chewings, and you don't see any electrical tape or wire cutters. We do have this rope here, which probably, if I had to guess, maybe they were trying to pull it with another piece of equipment. It could be something like that. It could be, who knows. But other than that, everything is very original the way it should have been. It has a manual choke, and what I mean by that, it doesn't have the pull knob like your Big Reds. Again, this is your base model 3-wheeler. The choke, you reached underneath and you manually turn the choke on and off with your hand from here, not from the dash, and that's what I mean by a manual choke. But our coil is located here. It's easy to get to. It's in its factory mount. It's the correct coil for this machine. So just those little things, when you're purchasing a machine, they add value to the machine. They help you diagnose problems. If you come up on a machine and everything's pulled apart and cut and wires are stripped and tape, and you'll be chasing your tail trying to figure out what's wrong. When the machine is factory original like this one, you can actually use the book if you need to go through and test components, find out what's wrong with it, and put it back in service. So the next thing we want to do now is I'm going to pull the spark plug. I'd like to go ahead and put some PB Blaster in the cylinder just to kind of let it be soaking in there while we're doing other things. Not that it necessarily needs that. The machine's not locked up, but it wouldn't hurt. It's good preventative. Before you bring one back around, it wouldn't hurt. So a good indication can be the spark plug, how it looks when you pull it out. If it's a new plug, that's not going to tell you anything. But if it's an older plug, then there is some information to be gleaned from there. Was it running rich? Was it running lean? Is the electrode folded over where the piston hit it? All those kinds of things. So we're running a little rich, but not bad. Electrode is not touching the ground strap. Everything looks good on that plug. We'll use this plug for testing purposes to see if we have any spark. Put it right back in your plug wire. I'll just lay it up here on the side of the head. Be sure that you don't have a lot of lubricants and spray and carburetor cleaner that could be flammable. If that sparks, then you don't want to have a fire. So good size PB Blaster. Be pretty literal with it. Just spray it right in the spark plug hole there. We're going to be turning this motor over several times relatively dry with no fuel. So let's be sure and lubricate that piston a little bit. And this is manual, so we'll be pulling our pull rope. Watch right here for spark. Before we pull our pull cord, come up here to your kill switch. I find a lot of times the kill switch gets faulty and it gets stuck in the off position. This is a 3-position kill switch. You have off to the left, on or run in the center, and off to the right. So be sure that you feel the detents. If you watch the plug, it actually has a detent there in the run position. A lot of these get so wore out that it's in one position or the other, it gets sloppy and it won't return back to the run. So be sure and just run that through a couple of times. Make sure that you can feel the detents and it's making contact inside. Same goes for your headlights. Your headlights you actually want to push up with your thumb and then come back over from the high and the low. But go ahead and turn that off. You don't need that right now anyway. We're just testing for spark and we want to make sure this switch works. If we have spark, we'll turn the switch off and try again. And if we lose spark, then we know our switch is working. And that way you're testing more and more components of the system. We know it doesn't run. We just don't know why yet. All that being said, watch for spark right there. All right, we've got spark. Our piston's moving. We're blowing all that PB Blaster out, which was to be expected, but we have spark. There you go. Pretty good too. All right, well that is a great sign. That's perfect. You just can't ask for much more in this. I'm going to go run this on the wire wheel and clean it up. All right, ran our plug through the wire wheel. Before we put this back on, let's do this. I'm going to turn the run switch to off and see if we lose spark. And we do. No spark. We turn it back to run. We've got spark again. Okay, just be careful with that spark. If you've been spraying a lot of carburetor cleaner around, you got a flammable situation, gasoline spilled all over the head when you took the tank off. Just be careful about that. You will light it up and have a fire in the shop, and you don't want that. All right, at this point, I'm feeling pretty confident. The piston sounds good. We hear that puff, 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 puff. So we know that it is moving quite a bit of air. So that's good. That is not a sign of compression. All right, we've got spark. We've got what sounds like decent compression. It's just air at this point. It's not compression. Don't let somebody tell you that is compression. It's not. It's just moving air through the cylinder. What I take from that sound is that there's no clunks. There's no bangs. There's no parts moving around that ain't supposed to. There's no parts hitting the valve train. Didn't make any noise. The timing chain didn't make any noise. Nothing got bound up, you know, as we were trying to pull the motor over. That is not an indicator of compression. That is just an indicator of things are moving smoothly. And at this point, that's all we care about. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm not going to take that carburetor off. I want to see if it's going to pop off with that carburetor on it. I've got a little portable gas tank here. We're going to hook that up. We're just going to feed some two-stroke to it. It's just two-stroke gas. You can use regular gas if that's what you have. It's just something I keep around the shop. I like clear fuel lines. If you put a new piece of fuel line in here, the other one was just so brittle. Every time I tried to clean it and fix it, it was just breaking my hand. So we got two-stroke fuel in here. We verified we have spark. Always make sure your throttle returns to the off or closed position. This one, you can feel it as you pull the resistance of the slide. You can let off. You can hear it tap and bottom out. That little tap is the slide bottoming out in the carburetor. Always make sure that's correct. Always make sure it returns to the off position or closed position. I'm going to take this janky air filter off because I don't want to have any issues with it not being able to breathe. A couple minutes running without an air filter is not going to be a big deal. We're on. We've got fuel in our carburetor. We should be good to go. In the event that it were to run away or something like that, we know we have our kill switch here, or you could always pull the plug off, the spark plug. You may want a pair of pliers handy if you don't feel comfortable grabbing that wire at the boot. So let's see what we have here. Does it run? Take the slack out of your cord. I see a lot of guys, they'll grab this and they'll just yank with all their might. You don't have to do that. Take the slack out of your cord, get it to where it's comfortable to you, and just pull it over. We'll choke it. Choke should be in the up position. Let's go halfway. I think that was a count. I think that counts. All right, we are going to have to go in the carburetor. It sounds like it wants to. We'll cheat just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so that takes care of everything we needed to know. We clean this carburetor. We're going to have us a running 200S. Guys, first successful test drive. I don't think you can ask for more than that. Couple of things we found out, things that I've forgotten that I'll pass on to you. 85 was the first year of the upshift. If y'all are new to three-wheelers, the modern ATV is always an upshift. You always start at the basement and work your way up. The original three-wheelers were downshift, and 84 was the last year of downshift. 85 is the first year of upshift. So it messes with your head a little bit when you think you need to go down when you go up, and vice versa. 85, 200S. We have very little in this. We bought a bundle deal. I got a bug on me. Outside. We got this in a bundle deal. I probably have about $500 in this machine. Probably a little less, depending on how you want to break up the bundle. We got a mini bike, we got a TRX 70, we got a 200S, and we got a bunch of parts. So you can kind of figure that out how you want. I'll put pen to paper and kind of show you where we're at on it. But this is kind of the first machine out of that bundle purchase, up running and riding. The pilot jet was completely plugged up. It was never going to start. I always throw a little spray at it just to kind of test that. That's exactly what it was. The fuel was golden yellow. It was pea yellow. That fuel was old. That fuel had to be 2-3 years old, maybe 4 or 5. Other than that, the valve train sounds good. The exhaust has kind of a smell to it. There's probably a dirt dauber in there. Probably gonna kind of smell like that for a little while. If you know old equipment and bringing it back around, they have a special smell when there's dirt on the exhaust, or I think there's actually a dirt dauber's nest on the muffler. So as that cooks off, you'll smell it. I haven't washed it. There it is. We'll give it a little once over here real quick. Headlight works. Tail light is very dim. This hub is loose. Things you learn. You learn that I broke my mount on my camera, so I'll have to show you from there. This bolt axle nut is tight, but watch this. Yeah. The hub's either shot, or hopefully it's not the axle spline, or maybe it's just loose. The cotter pin is in there, so that's good. It's not going to fly off, but that certainly will eat up your axles. Don't ride a machine that has loose hubs like that, because it'll sit there and ratchet on your spline. So your axle will wear out, or your hub will. What's worse than that is when you find one where someone's welded the hub to the axle. Try not to do that either. But anyways, I'm very pleased with this one. We have very little bit of money in it. That allows us to kind of put some more money in it to sell it. Now, some of you argue that hurts the return, and it does, but I think if you're going to ask for a premium, you have to try to give a premium product. So, oil change, air filter right out of the gate. 3 new tires right out of the gate. And these back wheels are not factory wheels. To be honest with you, they're 3-lug. And yeah, I think these hubs are off of something else. I think those are Yamaha hubs or something. I'm just saying that. I'll have to go check my books on this kind of stuff. It's got a 3-lug hub. I believe it's supposed to have a 4-lug hub. So maybe that's why they're sloppy like that. But other than that, I am very pleased. We know this headlight is not the correct headlight, so that's not a big deal. We can change that out if we want, or we can let it go because it's working. But we've got, look at these hubs. See that hub? I believe those are the wrong hubs. So that may be a problem moving forward. We may have to address. I may have to see if I can find some wheels. Do we have enough in the budget to buy wheels if we have to? All the decisions you have to make when you buy something and you plan to sell it is how do you maximize your return and still give a good product. Original seat, original tank. This is a really clean machine. I like this rack. It's a little overkill. It's very heavy duty, but you know, if you were using it around your property, you would be happy to have a rack like that that's not going to fold up on you. I don't know if it's homemade. It looks like it could be a little bit of homemade going on here. These are the factory mounts here for a rack. The way these are made, maybe they repurpose those. The mounts under the fender are correct, but I'm not familiar with that particular rack, and certainly not all of these welds through here. That is not accurate. That's not Handel line. But A little carburetor cleaning, a little crusty fuel line, cleaning the tank out, putting some good fuel in it. Run and drive, and we haven't adjusted the valves or anything else. That's why you want to buy the most original machine you can, even if it's used, original, not hacked up. Good to go. That's still the same plug. All right, so we're gonna go back through this machine. We're gonna clean it up and fix it up. We haven't washed it yet. We're gonna detail it. We're gonna put some tires on it, and then we're gonna take it to market. We'll have this one ready for Santa to ride on that. And let me show you what else we got in the bundle here. I'm not sure how this is going to go in editing, but we got a mini bike. We got a 2008 with a title, Honda CRF50F. Starts, runs, and drives. I mean, it's ready to go. So we did very well on this bundle. We're getting these things ready to go. Y'all know around November, I start thinking Christmas. I want to get my machines ready through the month of November, and December 1st, I want to put them on Marketplace and Let Go and all the other Craigslist and so forth. And I want to get ready to help old Santa out. And there's nothing like an ATV for a kid, you know, on the holidays. I mean, that is, when I was a kid, that would have been the ultimate Christmas. I mean, Transformers and slot car racing, and those are some good presents, and I cherish them all. But the year where there's a motor and wheels involved, those were my favorite. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I don't know how we're going to edit all this together, but 1985, I think this is my first 85. I know it's my first upshift. So 85 200S. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.